Hello and good morning. So welcome to another Fife Property Market Update. Now this is for the week commencing the 29th to the 5th. So this is where we look at last week's figures. Now today's update is going to be slightly longer, but it's worth the watch because this is actually where we do the roundup for June as well. So we look at all of the June statistics. Plus, as well, we give you an insight into what we've been doing in particular as an agency. And actually, there was a lot of activity last week for me to talk you through, but I'll try and keep it brief. So yes, plenty to hear about today. As always, if you have any questions or comments, feel free to put them in the comment section. Even if you're not watching this live and you happen to do the rerun, feel free to put any questions in the comments or even message us privately if you prefer. But we're going to start with the statistics. We'll start with last week's firstly. So you'll see straight away there, this is broken down into micro regions. So for every area within Fife, every agent that uses Rightmove, this is new properties that hit the market and properties that have gone to under offer or subject to concluded missive, so sold. So straight away, what you can see at a glance is 146 properties went to market last week and 156 properties sold. So actually, last week, more properties sold than what actually hit the market. Now, if you look at Cooper, for example, 10 and 10. So even Stevens, 10 properties hit the market, likewise 10 properties sold. So that's a strong position to be in. East Nuke, 6 properties instructed versus 9 properties sold. 9 is higher than what the East Nuke tends to see. It normally floats around anything from 4 to 5 to 6. So the 9 is slightly higher. And when we get to our activity, you'll see why. St Andrews, 8 properties instructed versus 10 properties sold. Again, it's good to see double digits for St Andrews, slowly working through the backlog of stock, because obviously if you are aware of the St Andrews market, and especially if you watch these shows quite regularly, there is quite a bit of stock sitting on the St Andrews market. Average selling time can be anything from 5 to 6 months, just with how much is available. Obviously, you can kind of beat the average if you are priced correctly. Make sure that your property is positioned perfectly on the market. So in terms of the marketing, in terms of the reach, and have you got an active, proactive agent that is pushing your property and getting you over that line? Leavenmouth, 12 versus 12, strong position to be in. Again, obviously, Leavenmouth and the KY area is a strong market and continues to be that. And we see that week on, week out, ever since last year when the commuting links were made available and the investment was put into the area. Dunfermline, always high numbers. You know that by now if you watch these shows. And again, if you watch the market, Dunfermline always will perform higher in terms of transactional numbers because of the availability of property and the location. So people can be this side of the bridge, get a lot more property for the money and just commute over the bridge to the bigger cities. Glenroth is 16 versus 12 and Kirkcaldy 18 versus 38. Now, straight off the bat there, Kirkcaldy to have 38 properties sold last week alone. There was a lot of activity obviously happening in Kirkcaldy last week because that is a really high number. Likewise, though, 18 only hitting the market is slightly less than what we see. So something was happening in the water last week in Kirkcaldy. But as we always do say, 1 week doesn't make a trend. But that's why I have also got the monthly roundup for you for June. And just bear in mind as well that this is just resale homes only. This does not include your new builds. But just for reference, last week there was 4 new properties in the St Andrews area. So 4 new builds hit the market for availability. There was also 4 in Glenrothes, so 4 new build plots became available in Glenrothes and 3 in Kirkcaldy. So that's last week's statistics. As we say, 1 week doesn't make a trend, so it is great to see a monthly roundup. So when we look at June as a whole then, so let's pull that up next. Straight away, you can see 652 properties hit the market in the month of June. So new instructions and 580 active buyers on the market. So 580 properties accepted offers and are now showing as sold subject to concluded missives. So that gives you an idea. You can see on the very last column there, that gives you an idea in terms of percentage. So available stock versus what is now shown as sold and what that percentage looks like. Obviously, the higher percentage, the better. So off the bat, you can see 58 properties hit the market within the KY14, KY15 postcode versus 43 properties sold. So 74% of the available stock is now showing as sold. So obviously, if you do have a property within the Cooper area and you are looking to get on the market and get sold, like, yes, okay, there wasn't as many properties that sold as what was instructed. However, it does still show that there were still 43 active buyers within the KY14, KY15 postcode, which is still a strong number. It's what we like to see. Granted, obviously, it is the lowest percentage out of them all. But actually, when you look at the transactional numbers, there's not an awful lot in it. And obviously this will follow on. So perhaps some of those 58 hit in the tail end of June, and we'll see them now going as sold in July. So it is all relative as well. Nothing to be alarmed about in the KY14-15 postcode. East Neuk, 31 properties sold. 31 properties instructed versus 25 properties showing it's sold. So 81% of the stock is now showing as sold. So again, that is great to see for the East Neuk. We say average selling time can be anything from 2 to 3 months for the East Neuk. So it's great to see that there was 25 buyers out there looking for a property in the East Neuk, especially when you think of all the different changes that have come into play and has an impact on the market, especially in terms of second homes and Airbnbs. It's great to still see that 25 properties went over the line. Obviously, if you do have a property within the East Neuk you're thinking of selling, or you're perhaps on the market and you have some questions in terms of what the market looks like specifically, feel free to reach out, drop a message, pick up the phone. I'm more than happy to speak about it in more detail with you, because obviously there is a lot to run through in this show. So we're just doing a bit of a brief. But if you do have any specific questions, please just pick up the phone or drop us a message. St Andrews, 47 properties instructed versus 38 properties sold. Good number to see for St Andrews. Again, when you look at the transactional numbers, not an awful lot in it. A difference of 9, which 38 properties selling and going over the line in St Andrews is great to see, and hopefully we'll see that kind of continue on, and we will slowly work through the backlog of stock that we have sitting with a knock-on effect from last year. Again, with St Andrews, if you do have any questions, particularly within that area, reach out and pick up the phone to us. And we have had some great results recently within the St Andrews area. So it does just show you with realistic pricing and effective and proactive marketing that really does get the reach, you can get your property over the line. Leavenmouth, 60 properties instructed versus 49 properties sold. So again, 82% of the stock is now showing as sold. And again, if you do watch our shows, you will see that we have had some brilliant results in the KY postcode. Property selling from P-Portal, property selling in 2 days, 3 days, selling in a week. And it's different price points, different styles of properties in different areas within the Leavenmouth, whether it be Buckhaven, whether it be Windygates, whether it be Kennyway, whether it be Methil. And we've had some brilliant results in the last month, and even prior to that. And obviously we will talk through that as we go through the show and you see some of our results. But only having obviously 49 properties sold, yes, there was 60 instructed, but this is also the time of month where everybody is putting their property on the market. They have waited for these brighter months, for the lighter evenings, for the garden being in full bloom. So this is where you are going to see more stock hitting the market. So that's why there is a difference in the total numbers, because there is more competition. And this is why at the beginning of the year, we were educating everybody we were speaking to, saying if you want to sell your property, you need to go sooner rather than later for this exact reason, because there is a lot more competition on the market, and that's what you need to be very aware of. And again, that's where it comes down to being aware of your competition, pricing accordingly, and again, having that proactive agent that pushes your property out there and gets it seen in a market where there is a lot of stock. So it's not alarming to see that not as many properties sold and Leavenmouth as what is instructed. That is to be expected with how much stock is coming on the market, but it is still great to see that there was just shy of 50 buyers out there in the KY area. And as I say, we have had some brilliant results. Dunfermline, 279 versus 257, so 92%. Dunfermline, as I mentioned previously, it is just the market for getting a lot more property for your money and being this side of the bridge. So the numbers are always going to be drastically different. Glenrothes, 56 versus 60, so actually more property sold than what was instructed. Great to see, especially for the Glenrothes area. We have had a couple of properties in the Glenrothes area and have gone over the line. So we've had some great results within that market. But it is great to see 107%. So that is the only area where actually more property sold than what came to market. So we're obviously just working through the stock. And that'll also be, if you're wondering, well, how is that the case? That 60 will include properties that hit the market in perhaps March, April, May. You don't know how long they were sitting there for. Kirkcaldy, 121 versus 108, so 89%. not that much in it again, but again, Kirkcaldy is an area that people will lean towards for having everything on your doorstep. So all of your amenities, all of your leisure facilities, all of the commuting links. Plus, there is some great areas in terms of affordability for price points. So that is why, again, your Glenrothes, your Kirkcaldy, and your Levermouth are popular areas to get a good footprint of property at affordable price while still having everything on your doorstep. So that is the monthly roundup. If you are sitting with a property in one of those particular areas and you want to know it in more detail, or even just have questions, please do reach out. The agents here are more than happy to speak with you and give you more of an insight. So let's have a look at what we were doing in particular as an agency. So we'll start with properties that we have sold, so properties that we have accepted offers on. So the first one being Milton Road in Pitton Weem. So this one was an absolutely stunning property. You can see that there straight away. The curb appeal of this property was incredible, and that standard continued throughout. It was absolutely immaculate, recently renovated, 2-bedroom, detached bungalow, driveway, garage, substantial plot. There was actually a build on warrant to extend the property if you wish. You can also see a summer house at the end of the garden. So it really was the property that just kept on giving. It was absolutely stunning. Modern interiors. The new owners are absolutely delighted to be moving to the area, moving into the home. Likewise, the sellers are delighted that we're just able to help them move on and, help them in their property journey. Now, this one was on the market for offers over 320,000. So obviously, as I talk through these sold, I can't disclose what offer was received on them until they have gone through the conveyancing stage. You will just need to keep a lookout on the shows so we can disclose what we achieved for them. But that was our first property sold, and that was in the East Nuke. So it was great to get one over the line in Pitton Weem. Then our next one was another East Nuke property. So this is where I said we contributed to the 9. Our next one was Elizabeth Place. So this sold in 4 weeks, but it doesn't even feel as long as that. It was actually my first viewing at the property. We started negotiations, and obviously the offer was accepted. So that was great to see. It was a 3-bedroom property that is a upper flat, so an upper apartment, beautifully presented. It had a lot of charm about it, from the kind of exposed wooden floors. It had a little log burner. It had sash and case windows. Really, obviously, you can see that in keeping with the property. So it was beautifully presented. So much storage in this home as well. It was a big footprint of the apartment, and actually, you are like right on the Fife Coastal Path. You can see the Fife Coastal Path from every single window of your property, and actually, you're just a stone's throw into the beach, Shore Street, the harbour. It really did have everything going for it, and that was on the market for offers over 225,000. And the new owner is delighted to be staying within the area and moving into their new home. Likewise, the seller is delighted that we're able to get it over the line for them in a quick time. As I say, it doesn't even feel like it was 4 weeks. Next property that we sold, slightly different location, moving along to London Links. Again, this was a popular one, and this was Woodlands Road. It was a 4-bedroom, 2-reception, semi-detached property, sought after location, but you were getting off-street parking, stunning views over the Lago Law. The new owners are absolutely delighted to be moving into their home, and this was on the market for offers over 275,000. So it was great to get that one over the line. So actually, if you're sitting and you're watching this and you're thinking, I potentially want to sell my property, or actually I am going to be selling my property, and you have a property within these areas or similar to this footprint, we had buyers that missed out on these properties. So actually, please reach out and get in touch, because we know that they are actively looking for their next home. They are hot contacts. So we're able to go to them and say, we have your property coming next. And we're able to get you results like sold in 2 weeks, sold in 4 weeks. So please do reach out to us and we can get an agent out to you. Another one within the KYA area, and it was Adamson Terrace in Leven. So you can see with this one, it is a 2-bedroom upper apartment, sought after location, because obviously you're walking distance to everything, down to the high street, down to the bus station, the train station, the beach, everything on your doorstep. Off-street parking with this one as well, which is great. So yes, you're an apartment, but you are getting your own off-street parking. And there was obviously outdoor space that gives you flexible options for outdoor storage. So this one was on the market for offers over 85,000, and again sold in 2 weeks. So when I was saying earlier, and I was looking at the monthly figures, and I was saying, yes, we haven't sold as much in the KYA area as what was instructed. we as an agent in particular have had some brilliant results within June, and this is a prime example, and this is just 1 week's activity. So please do reach out, and we're more than happy to speak with you in more detail, because again, another KY area property. So this one was in Methil, and this one sold from social media. So the buyer came forward at pre-portal stage. So Perry's pre-portal hit social media, and this person reached out. So actually, this didn't even hit your Rightmove, your Zoopla, and your S1 Homes. It got snapped up and sold from social media, which was absolutely fantastic. So that just shows you with effective pricing and an agent that has strong marketing and actually is proactive and gets the reach and works for you, you can get results like this. Now, this one was on the market for offers over 55,000. It was a 3-bedroom ground floor flat. Great opportunity to add value. Walking in there, you can just put your own stamp on it and really make it your own. So the delight is the new owners are delighted that they've been able to secure that property, because likewise, again, people missed out on this property. So if you have a property within the area similar to this, please do reach out, because we'll be able to go to them, especially because this one sold from social media. We didn't even obviously get the chance to get to Rightmove and Zoopla as well. So finally, our last sold for last week was in Milton of Balgony, and it was a 4-bedroom, 2-reception, 2-bathroom detached property, sought after location. What's great with Milton of Balgony, one, not an awful lot comes up, so when they do, they get snapped up, but two, you're getting that village kind of semi-rural lifestyle while also still being close. You can travel back to Leoben, you can travel to Glenrothes, you can go to Markinch. There really is so many surrounding amenities and commuting links, but you're getting that village lifestyle. And of course, you're getting this gorgeous property, because you can see it's got so much charm about it and a big footprint. So it's an ideal family home, because you're detached, as I say, 4 bedrooms, 2 receptions, 2 bathrooms, and then you're getting off-street parking, you're getting garage, and you're getting gardens. So it really was fantastic. Now, if you do watch these shows regularly, or you keep up to date with our results, you'll maybe think, actually, did you not sell that recently? And you're absolutely right, we did. Now, the initial sale of this property did fall through. However, we've got it straight back out onto the social media, onto your Rightmove, onto your Zoopla, and we were able to, within 2 weeks, secure another buyer. So actually, the seller didn't have any concerns, any issues, because we were able to just get back out there, get the reach, start the viewings again, and we proactively got a second buyer within 2 weeks as well. And that's what a successful and proactive agent will do for you. It's not a case of what's went wrong, or perhaps obviously situations change and circumstances change, which is exactly what happened for the initial buyer in this case. And that's something that's out of our control. But actually, what do we do to get it back over the line? And that's where you need to have faith in your agency that will do that for you. So that one sold in 2 weeks. That was a brilliant result, and it put the seller's mind so much at ease. And obviously, the buyers are absolutely delighted, because they were able to secure their next home. And this one was on the market for offers over 340,000. So that is what we sold last week. So a brilliant bit of activity, and it just shows you we're covering all different micro regions within Fife, and all different price points and property types. So if you do have properties within those areas that are similar to those, and you want to get results like those, please do pick up the phone or message us privately, whatever you prefer, but you do not want to miss out on obviously getting results like that. Now, coming soon, so this is properties where myself, Perry, Jim have been out, and they're coming to market with ourselves. So the first one is Windygates Road in Leoben. Now, this is a 2-bedroom detached bungalow. All of your amenities, like I've talked about, the location is ideal. You've got everything on your doorstep, and you're getting a 2-bedroom detached bungalow. And we all know trying to secure a bungalow is really, really hard. So that's why when you see this one, you need to act fast. So these coming soon are pre-portal videos. So you'll see the agent on the social media page, you'll see the words pre-portal, then that's your full video walkthrough. It's a preview of the property before it goes to your Rightmove, your Zoopla, and your S1 Homes. So when you see that pre-portal, watch it. If it ticks all your boxes, make sure you keep listening to the end to get the price point. But then actually, if you are one in a position to proceed, and what we mean by that is cash buyer, money in the bank, ready to make an offer, and if the offer is obviously an attractive offer, if obviously it's potentially home report value, or even you think about coming in less, that is not going to secure the property. This is where you are literally putting your best foot forward. This is your no regrets offer, and making it an attractive offer that seller almost bites your hand off for, that stops it going to your Rightmove, your Zoopla, and your S1 Homes. So that is a pre-portal. Now, if you want a bit more of clarity or explanation on that, again, just reach out and we're more than happy to speak with you. But you are looking for a pre-portal, and that means the property's coming to market and you've got an opportunity to secure it. Now, you need to be following the social media pages to see them. So wherever you're looking to purchase a property, go and follow our relevant page, and then just keep a lookout. Be proactively looking on that page for the pre-portals. Next one is Dewar Drive in Leven. So this is a 2-bedroom first floor flat. And as you've just seen from last week's results, whether it be 2-bedroom, 3-bedroom, upper, ground, whether it be your 55 price point or your 85 price point, they are properties that get snapped up because they appeal to so much of the market. First-time buyers, investors, landlords, people looking to downsize, people looking to move to the area, and that's their starting point. It really does appeal to a lot of the market. So just like this one, we know it's going to get snapped up. So wait to see Perry's pre-portal, but then act fast. Finally, you have Shaw Street in Anstruther. So this one is a 2-bedroom first floor apartment, beautifully presented, renovated, high standard, contemporary throughout. It's such a bright property as well. It's just amazing. Open plan kitchen diner, 2 bedrooms, but the views from this property are absolutely incredible. You're Shaw Street, so you're right there on the harbour, literally a stone's throw when you are at the water, Fife Coastal Path. And because you are on the upper level, you have just panoramic elevated views, so uninterrupted, completely stunning. And actually, you don't have to wait long for this one. The weather's looking good as well, but Jim is actually there later today to do the video, so you don't have to wait long for this one. So make sure you're following our eSnoop page. Look out for Jim's pre-portal, and if it's a property that appeals to you, please do reach out because you do not want to miss out on this one. Finally, back to the KY area, you have Orchard Lane in Leven. We've sold a couple within this kind of development. It's sought after. It is a desirable area, so you know this one is going to be popular, and especially if you're looking for your next family home because it's 4-bedroom detached. So you don't have to wait long for that one either. So please go and have a look on the Leven page for that one. So that is our coming soon. So as I say, if you've got any questions about them, just reach out. But we're going to now discuss completed. So this is properties that are now over the line, gone through conveyancing, and we can now disclose what was achieved for them. So the first one is Shamis Crescent in East Weems, or some of you may know it as Shamis. This is a 5-bedroom, 3-bathroom detached property. If you saw this one, you would have seen it was absolutely immaculate, extremely high standards, spacious and modern interiors, off-street parking, integrated garage, and it had a beautiful enclosed garden. And this one actually sold for 360,000, which actually was 10,000 over the home report. So the new owners are delighted that they was able to secure that property quickly as well. Likewise, the sellers, not only one did they secure 10,000 over the home report value, but actually they were then purchasing with us and were able to manage the whole chain for them. And we kept it nice and smooth. And they're obviously delighted that we helped them in their journey while getting them some extra money in their pocket. Next one is Groban in Leven. So this was a 3-bedroom terrace property with the opportunity to add value. It was almost a bit of a blank canvas that you could go in, put your own stamp on it and make it your own. So this one sold for 112,000. So it was 2,000 over the home report value. The new owners were absolutely delighted to be moving into their home. Next one was Maggie Morgan Drive in St. Monan. So head into the eSnoop, different location. Now this one was an absolutely immaculate 3-bedroom detached bungalow, high standard contemporary throughout, not a thing needed done to it. It was beautifully presented while being in a prime position within this sought after cul-de-sac, detached garage, driveway, completely private enclosed garden. They are popular within that kind of the Fifes estate. So this one sold for 375,000. So we were able to negotiate and secure this buyer 25,000 over the home report value, which is an absolutely amazing result. And they're absolutely delighted that they're able to move on. Likewise, the new owners are delighted to be moving into their new home. So yes, they've got an immaculate property, beautifully presented. They were able to secure it, but likewise, they've got an amazing location within St. Monans and just a short walk and you are down to everything, the harbour, the beach, the cafes. It is just perfect. Next, you have Forest Street in St Andrews. So this one was a 3-bedroom linked detached property. And it was a great opportunity that, yes, you can go in and put your own stamp on it. You could have extended it as well if you wished. So there was a lot of potential within the property. It sold for 270,000. And of course, the new owners are delighted to be moving into the home because you've got everything on your doorstep within St Andrews. So that one was a great one. And then finally coming to the Cooper area, and we had Charles Jarvis Court in Cooper. So this was, again, a sought after desirable cul-de-sac. just down kind of tucked by the fire station. So down that way, so literally a stone's throw walk, and you are to the Bonnygate where all your shops, round the corner to the train station, so prime location. It was a 4-bedroom detached. It had a home office, driveway, garage, corner plot, enclosed garden. So that one sold for 270,000. So that one was great to get over the line. So that is the properties that have now completed. So you can see the results that we got: 10,000 over home report, 25,000 over home report. So some brilliant results. So as I say, if you are looking to go to market and you want to sell your home and get results like that in 2 weeks, 4 weeks, sold from social media, pick up the phone. It's going to benefit you, us coming out and coming, giving your accurate value, talking through next steps, letting you see our marketing and what that investment looks like to get you these results. So finally, we'll do a run through of the shows that have taken place. So yesterday you had the Wealth Creation Show. So this is where you have Jim Parker, one of the UK's most successful property investors, and Richard Cook, the lettings director, on hand discussing and yesterday's topic. So it was live at 12:30, and they go live at Mondays at 12:30 every week, but you can watch the rerun just like this show. But they were doing the roots of success, and success is something we all strive for in different ways, whether it be business, personal life, education, personal growth and development. But what really does lie at the heart of success, and how would you personally define success? So what are your measures? Is it perhaps freedom? Is success freedom? And what do you love to do every single day? And it's not just about money either. It's about the impact and the feeling and the fulfillment that you get from that. Is perhaps success progress? Is it constantly growing and developing? Even through failure, you're exceeding because you learn from your mistakes? Or is it success when you reach a certain potential? How do you actually measure that, and what is success to you? So that's where they're on hand discussing. They did that yesterday, but you can go back and watch the rerun. Other shows that you can watch was a great one if you are a landlord or you're considering starting and building a portfolio. And it's How to Strive and Thrive at Buy to Let. So this is where you had, again, Richard Cook, the lettings director, and Karen Marshall, the lettings agent, and they are thinking about how you go and get all the recent and upcoming changes, and obviously things to look out for, how having an agent will manage that for you, and again, how you will thrive. And then another one, again, great if you are a landlord or again considering, and it's actually about the rental property market and a 5-year review, and also a 2025 landlord outlook. So landlords have seen remarkable changes over the past 5 years, with rising rents, a shift in the number of rental homes available, tenant expectations, and also obviously guidelines that the government's put in place. How looking ahead, new regulations, higher costs, and evolving renter demands present fresh challenges, but also new opportunities for those that are perhaps willing to adapt and just go with the flow, and especially if you have an agent that just manages it for you. Again, you had Richard Cook and Karen Marshall on hand discussing that topic. So some brilliant shows that you can go back and watch. But that's it for another week. Just making sure I've covered everything off. If you do have any questions, put them in the comments, message privately. But failing that, we will see you next Tuesday for another market update. All the best. Take care.